Boom, we're back live. Welcome to Nick White Classics. I'm Nick, and it's time for some classic comics. That's right, this week, every night around 8 p.m. Eastern, we're going live, and we're reviewing some of the classic comic books from my collection. I'm super excited to share my comic books with y'all. I was a huge comic collector in the 90s and early 2000s. And I have some comics that are a little bit older too, some from the a lot from the 80s, some from the 70s, and a few from the 60s and older. So little bit of golden age stuff, a lot of silver age, and a lot of the sort of bronze age stuff. But we have 3 boxes here, A, B, and C. Let me know in the chat which box should we open first. Box A, box B, box C. These are all filled with classic comic books. I'm going to pop these open and kind of talk through some comics from my old collection. A, B, or C? Just let me know in the chat which box of comics should we go through. We got a bunch of A's in the chat. See A? Let's do it then. Let's go with A. My man, first one to speak up. So let's go with A. Okay, so to be honest, I have no idea what's in here either. I haven't gone through these boxes in quite a long time, but these are from my personal collection. So I've seen these, but sometimes, you know, it's possible I have not seen these in a number of years. So let's go. First comic we pull is X-Men 1999 Annual, the Red Skull Ascent. So you see, this is a Marvel comic from August of 1999. Looks like you got the Red Skull right here, and looks like some cool stuff. I'm not going to open it up or anything like that. I'm just going to set that aside and move on to the next book. Let's see what else we got. Tales of the Marvel Universe, special collector's item issue. Awesome. So this is sort of like a short stories that would use all kinds of different characters across the Marvel Universe. So there's that. Next, we have the official Marvel Index to the X-Men, issue number 2. Looks like Brett's in the house. What's happening? Welcome. The classic crew is finally in the house. Anybody in the chat, consider you part of the crew. Welcome. Next, we have issue 4, the official Marvel Index to X-Men. You got the brown and gold Wolverine on the cover, Sabretooth in the back, Storm here is at Shatterstar, Havoc down here, Kitty Pryde in the inset. It's like Wolverine's foot's like over her face, kind of. I see somebody said nothing. I just want to verify. Can y'all see and hear me okay? How's the quality of the stream? We've had issues with it, so I want to double check. If you can hear me, if you can see me, just hit me with the thumbs up or just say, yeah, I can hear you. Or, yeah, I can see you. Moving on. This is Uncanny X-Men 1997 annual issue. Okay, everything's good. Awesome. No trust, no honor, no rules. And this artwork, I think, is straight dope. I think this is Joe Madria. Or you got Storm. And this is when she had the short hair with the long bangs. And then you got Jean Grey, Cyclops. Is that Cannonball or Havoc? Might be Havoc, because he joined the X-Men there in the 90s at some point. Anyways, great artwork, classic. Team up with the Brotherhood, so the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, I take it. Pretty awesome. Ooh, this is a fun one. Next, we have X-Men Prime. And check out this, like, sweet Prism cover. I don't know if you can see that. I'm not sure if that's showing up well, but this is like, yeah, this is a cool-ass comic. And it's inside of a hard plastic case, so I didn't need to board this one. But the cover continues on the back. It's like a wraparound image. You got action poses with Cyclops, Gambit, Psylocke, Beast, Rogue, Archangel. And then on the front, we have Bishop, Storm, Wolverine with the bone claws. This is from the 90s. These are comics from my personal collection. Now, I collected comics from the early 90s through the mid 2000s. And I also always try to pick up some older comics along the way, but yeah, these are my personal collection. I wanted to share these because I feel like I have some classic comics, and I wanted to just kind of share them with the world. Do you have Craven the Hunter? Man, I might have one or two. This is an issue of Exiles. This is number 59. I'm not seeing a year on here, but I'm not sure what's going on. It looks like this is Blink, this is Sabretooth, and he's got Wolverine's claws, but it's a blonde dude with Wolverine's claws, so I'm not really sure what's going on here. Do you have Pokemon cards? I do not. Yeah, I used to collect those, but man, it's been I used to collect them in the early 2000s, so I haven't really collected them lately. Next, we have the Exiles, issue number 60, Age of Apocalypse. What's interesting about Blink is she came from the Age of Apocalypse. So if you're familiar with that classic Marvel storyline, the Age of Apocalypse, there's characters from that storyline that ended up coming back to the main storyline, including Blink. Next, we have a crossover here. This is the X-Men and Clandestine. These are two different Marvel teams teaming up. Two of Marvel's greatest super teams together for the first time. There you go. You got some Bones down here. Bone Claw Wolverine right there. Storm right here in the classic gray suit. Awesome. Okay, next we have X-Man 96. This is a classic, X spin-off. The X-Men were huge, so any kind of spin-off, any character that would support its own title, Marvel would do a run. X-Man, for those that don't know, he is like the offspring. He's Cable as a kid, basically. So the only cards that I have are pretty obscure. Like I have some Terminator 2 cards, some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cards, and so on. No, not really a lot of sports cards. Next, we have X-Men, the Magneto War. This is issue number 1. I don't see a year on here, but this is obviously from the 90s. Prelude to Destruction. Got Quicksilver with his father Magneto. We got Nightcrawler, Storm, Colossus, Wolverine, and I think that's Rogue on the cover there. That's some pretty sweet artwork. Next, we have X-Men 2099. Now, in the 90s, the Marvel took all of their primary titles and imagined what would that team look like in 100 years. So that's what the 2099 series was all about. And this is X-Men 2099, which, man, I couldn't even tell you what the storyline is, but I always liked just this cover art. Very cool stuff. I'm going to set this here. Next, we have Extreme X-Men, Savage Land number 1. So, Claremont took over the X-Men for a short stint initially, and maybe for a longer time eventually, but he was doing such a great job that they gave him his own kind of spin-off title, which is Extreme X-Men. They're always trying to give X-Men a new spin, a fresh coat of paint, as it were, and this is just that. This is issue number 1 from the mid-90s. I don't see a year on there, but the cover price is $2.99, so I would say it's probably late 99, somewhere around there, 98, 99. Next is X-Men manga number 1, and you see this is a nice manga style art version of the X-Men. So you got Wolverine manga style. The manga X-Men number 2. We see more of the team here on the cover. We got Jubilee, Xavier, Cyclops, Rogue. If you're just tuning in, welcome to Nick White Classics. I'm sharing today some of my classic comic books. This is an episode of the series I have called Classic Comics, where I go through my old comic book collections. And this week on Nick White Classics, we're doing all comic book themed content this week. So definitely tune in every day at 5 p.m. I have a release scheduled, and then every night at 8 p.m. Eastern, I go live, and and we have a chat. And shouts out to everybody here. Thanks for joining us. This is Ascani Sun number 1. The future history of the X-Men continues. No idea, though. This looks like X-Man or you know, because of the hair with the white streak. But otherwise, I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with that. Just doesn't jump out. Okay, X-Men and Clandestine. Another issue with this series. This is number 2. You got the X-Men on this side and Clandestine on the other side. Looks like they're fighting each other. You know, I always loved the X-Men, so whenever they had a series where they had a crossover, you know, with another team, I had to pick it up. Ooh, this was one of my favorites, man. Mainly because of the Executioner. So this is Young Canny X-Men Annual, number 17 from 1993. Where Walks the Executioner. So not only do we have this awesome character on the front and some sweet artwork, look at this. We got Storm, Colossus fighting the Executioner. I also have this card. Whoops, it's upside down. So I have this supervillain card. I used to collect the X-Men cards, Marvel cards, as it were. But yeah, I've stored the Executioner card with the Executioner comic. Next, we have X-Men The Early Days, issue number 1. So, yeah, at this point, they were, in the early 90s, they were republishing classic X-Men storylines, and that's what this series was all about. So you can see this is like very OG, the way that their costumes are and everything. Next, we have X-Men number 4. And this is Marvel Collector's Edition. This is a Pizza Hut exclusive. We got Bishop and X-Men. I'm sorry, and Cyclops. Says Bishop and Cyclops versus the X-Men. Explosive finale brought to you by Pizza Hut. And I remember this. Pizza Hut had a crossover with Marvel, of course, and they had released 4 issues. And so whenever you bought a personal pan pizza as a kid, you'd get a free X-Men comic. So I had to go 4 months in a row in order to get all 4 of the X-Men comics and collect them all and read the entire story. And I think that might be the only one I have left. Next, we have Xavier Institute Alumni Yearbook. And this one is not in a case. So my rule for these classic comic showings is if there's no case, I'm going to flip these open and share the artwork with everybody. So you can see they have it designed as if it's a yearbook. They got yearbook pictures and short write-ups about them. Basically, group shots. Oh, man, look at that. I even cut out audio. Can you hear me okay? Let's see. So someone said the audio is muted. Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, cool. Sorry about that. Technology, gotta love it. Okay, so moving on, we have Cutting Edge, the Hulk number 1. So I don't remember the storyline at all. Ghosts of the Future. So these are all, you got Gray Hulk, Green Hulk, Smart Hulk, Old Hulk, and Smart Hulk. Or I have no idea who these other dudes are. This might, yeah, but it's cool version of Hulk. Next we have, looks like we're getting into some Hulk comics. The Incredible Hulk and Hercules Unleashed. Other here, a post-Onslaught epic. So again, Onslaught was just such a massive storyline that touched the entire Marvel universe. So basically every comic book that they had following that storyline, they had to, you know, they still had to throw back and reference that storyline because it was so impactful to their entire universe. Next we have Maverick, and this is issue number 1. Maverick in the Shadow of Death. blasting from the pages of Wolverine. So I was a huge Wolverine collector in the 90s. So whenever this Maverick got a spin-off or got his own book, I had to pick it up and start collecting that. Might not have collected more than just this first issue. Okay, so moving on. We got the Juggernaut. Kane Marco, one of the X-Men's greatest foes in his first solo adventure. The Master of Disaster. So this is the Juggernaut #1. This is the first time he ever got his own comic. And I definitely had to pick this up. This is just a one-shot. So it's a one of one in the series. Just a singular standalone story. I kind of like those sometimes, especially when they're like 48 pages or more. Because you can just get a standalone story without having to collect episodic or monthly versions. Next we have Archangel #1. This is a special event, Phantom Wings it's called. This might be the point where Archangel loses the metal wings and gets the feather wings back. I just love the style of that character and how like sort of tortured and that character was. So here we have Psylocke and Archangel, Crimson Dawn. This is a limited series where we're following sort of their love interest. And Psylocke is an interesting character if you ever look it up. Her origin story and then the evolution of that character changed so much over time, like sort of accidentally, just because of the writers misunderstood the storyline. And then they had to sort of do some recon and change, like, I don't know, change the whole storyline. They made Psylocke a clone, and then the real Psylocke came back. It was a whole mess. But yeah, it's kind of interesting if you want to look it up, but I won't do it justice. But here we got Crimson Dawn, issue #2, Highbringers of Death. This is awesome. Anyways, both these guys are badasses, if you ask me. Psylocke and Archangel are both two great X-Men. And this is Joe Madria in this image anyways, right here in the corner. I love his artwork. And looks like it says Rob Thibor LaRocca as the artist on this one. Ooh, check this out. This is not a Marvel comic. This is Now Comics. This is the Twilight Zone. First issue, first collector's issue. This is a Twilight Zone comic book, and this would have been a comic that I read again and again. I was always a huge Twilight Zone fan, whether it was the show, the movies, the series, or the comic books. Just a huge fan of the Twilight Zone. Next, we have Pinhead. Clive Barker's Pinhead, first pain-packed issue, and this is a cool. You got the foil, the reflective foil on the red, and then you have the stamped depth and dimension on the cover. You see the text and the head itself is sort of embossed on the cover here. And these Star Trek comics, good question. Yesterday I had a Star Trek and X-Men crossover comic. So we'll see if we have any today. I think I may have a few more somewhere. Not many. Next, we have Double Dragon, issue #2 from 1991. Double Dragon, classic video game. And the fact that Marvel published a comic book form is pretty awesome. This one's not in a bag, so I just want to kind of flip through it really quickly. See promos for bi-weekly comics: Silver Surfer, Captain America, Avengers, Wolverine. Sweet. The Punisher for the Game Boy. Classic, man. Check out those gameplay photos. What an ad. Ooh, and then Battletoads. Man, do they make that for Sega? I want to pick that up. I'd love to play Battletoads again. That was a great game. Okay, another Double Dragon comic. This is #6. Again, just going to flip through real quick. There you go. Game Genie. Ha! I definitely had a Game Genie back in the day for my Nintendo NES. What else? Let's kind of flip through. Cool artwork, man. Action-packed. Marvel had the best artists. Oh man, check that out. I always wanted that X-Men shirt with the cover X-Men 1 on the shirt. I never had it, but I always wanted it. Oh, that's a sweet one too. Galactus and the Silver Surfer. All right. Play Trog. And then an advertisement for Hook on the back. The film theatrical release. Next we have Static X, issue number 1 by Chaos Comics, The Machine. This is based on the band, the metal band Static X. I was a fan as a kid, still am. And yeah, you could see this has the glossy pages. And if you've been watching Nick White Classics, you know the comics with the glossy pages, always my favorite. Chaos Comics always made a lot of good stuff too. Check this out. Mr. Johnson's Head, the comic book by the Insane Clown Posse. So yeah, that's interesting. An advertisement for that, and then an advertisement for Revolver with Korn on the cover. There you go. I think this might be the only Static X comic I have, but pretty cool to come across that. Next, we have Sad Sack Laugh Special. This is an old comic, man. It's obviously not in a case. It's not in a sleeve at all. This is Harvey World Comics, issue number 91, with a cover price of 30 cents. And I'll look at the year just because there's no bag on it, so I can... If you didn't know, you always flip to like the first or second page, and you can see the year that it was published, 1976. So it's not that old, but it's definitely seen better days. It's been read a lot of times. I probably got this when I was very young, tossed it around, read it 100 times, and damaged the spine quite a lot. So I didn't even bother putting it in a bag. Next, we have a DC comic, which is rare in my collection. This is Arak, Son of Thunder. So this is almost like a Conan character. He's got a flaming sword on there. Boom. Next, we have Dakota North, issue number 1 from 1986. Dakota North Investigators, that is. New York, Paris, Rome, Tokyo. No idea. I don't remember that story. Don't know the characters. Don't know anything about that one. Next, we have all new Yang, Charleston Comics. Ooh, a cover price of 25 cents. That's probably from the early 60s, I would say. Looks like a karate style, like a kung fu dude drop kicking a monkey, an angry monkey who stole his girlfriend, or some version of that. That's what I can glean from the cover anyways. No idea. Don't remember that one. This is another older one. This is from Star Comics. This is Wally the Wizard, issue number 1. Star, the new world in the Marvel Universe. So, okay, cool. This is sometime in the... oh, there it is. Is that 1984? 1984. Wally the Wizard. So I think this is another kid's comic. This is Star, which I think was a sub-universe for more like kid-friendly comics that Marvel did in the 80s. Next, we have Robotics, issue number 1. The spectacular, action-packed first issue. So this is like a Transformers knockoff. Interesting. All right. Next we have the Power Pachyderms. And so you can see this is like a parody comic. Warning, any similarities between this book and the X-Men is probably just a cheap commercial ploy. So I don't know if the entire comic continues on like that, like a parody, or if they're just using the cover to sell issues. No idea. The Power Pachyderms. Next we have The Hands of Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu. So this is Shang-Chi, which we all know from the Marvel film. This is 60 cents on the cover, so we can flip through here. This is from 1982. There you go. We got another one of those. This is issue number 96, even older than that first one. More kung fu action and thrills than ever before. Check it out. Next, we have Marvel Comics Group, The Lunatic Side of Spoof. Brawl in the Family. So this is like a Mad magazine, right? But published by Marvel. Let's see if we can find a year. There it is, 1972. Tales from the Creep. So this is like a parody or spoof. It's like All in the Family. Archie Bunker. Okay. No idea. I just would read anything I could get my hands on back in the day. So this is Our Fighting Forces featuring The Losers with a cover price of 35 cents. Winner Takes Death plus an inch of war. So you can see World War II. You have the swastikas on the mine and the boat. So yeah, during this time, Marvel and DC, everybody was publishing content around the war. So there you have it. Looks like I have a comic from back then. Next is From Beyond the Unknown. This is a DC comic marked 20 cents on the cover. This is an old book, 1973, and it's DC. Don't know anything about it. It's in rough shape. It's probably, the next couple are not in sleeves. There's another DC comic. Yeah. Kamandi, the Last Boy on Earth. No idea. Looks like some cat dudes tossing the boy. Advertisements for board games. Classic. This is what the comics used to look like in the early 70s, guys. Boom. All right. Next, we have Sergeant Rock, which I kind of like these. Some of these war comics I thought were cool just because they were action-packed. Our Army at War featuring Sergeant Rock. Sergeant Rock was a badass, so that was definitely... That says Sergeant Rock in a fight to the death against the Nazi giant. Check it out. He's fighting a giant Nazi. Hopefully he kicks his ass in the issue. The Nazi gets his ass kicked, that is. Jump into the end. Jesus Christ, you got people burning on crosses. That's pretty hardcore. Okay, next we have Star Spangled War. Another issue marked at 20 cents. This must be from the early 70s as well. Another war comic. More DC. Here we have an issue of Jonah Hex. This is issue number 92. Cover price is 75 cents. So this is going to be a little more current. $1985. So you got a Superman action figure advertisement on the inside cover. That's kind of cool. Next we have Centurions. Centurions. Power Extreme. No idea. This is a DC comic. I mean, yeah. I would read whatever I could get my hands on. I was never a big fan of DC, so that's probably why I never put that one in a bag. Next, we have Extreme Justice, a DC comic. This is issue number 8. I don't know if this must be some version of Justice League, I take it. I just always thought the colors were a little more muted and the pages were more matte. So between Marvel and DC, I always favored Marvel because the pages were glossy and just a little more vibrant and colorful. Oh, the Archie Bunker. He said go to the Archie Bunker. Okay, what was that? Parody? Spoof, right? This one? The Lunatic Side of Life spoof. You want to pop it open? Flipping through this for you, Brett. Free 1 million cash. Look at that. What a deal. Just got to clip and send it in. Get your $1 million. You could be taller. You just have to fill this out. Send 25 cents to discover how. Awesome. Blood-curdling vampire bat. Life size. Only $1. These old comics, man. I swear to God. Okay. let's see what else we got in the box here. We're about halfway through, so we're going to speed things up a little. We got Firestorm, which, oddly enough, he was on the cover of one that we just went through. What was it? Oh, it's buried in here now. It's right here, Extreme Justice. So we got, yeah, Firestorm on the, this is his own comic here with Martian Manhunter. And then you got Firestorm on the cover here as well of Extreme Justice. That's kind of cool. Yeah, the obscure comics were my favorite too. Here's some more Firestorm, The Nuclear Man. This is annual issue number 1 from 1983. Then we got The Flash. It's pretty banged up. Another Flash. See, this is an older one. Look at that artwork, man. This feels like a Silver Age comic for sure. 75 cents on the cover. Very cool cover. Very cool artwork. Next, we have The Blood Syndicate from DC. This is from the early 90s. America Eats Its Youth. And no idea what this is about or anything about this, but you know, whenever I could find a comic that was issue number 1, I had to pick it up and add it to my collection. So there you have it. Next, we have the new Teen Titans. Pretty banged up, but there it is. These are the Teen Titans that we know and love from the animated series. Next, we have DC's Hawkman. This is issue number 2. You got a Green Lantern on the cover. Whenever I see a dude like this, you know it's straight up. I always felt like it's a straight up rip-off of Wolverine. So I had to check that out just because I'm such a Wolverine fan. This is pretty obscure. This is Terminal City by Vertigo in DC. Vertigo was like an imprint of DC, published primarily by DC, but Vertigo had its own universe and its own series of publications that were a little more adult-oriented. So, yeah, Terminal City, there's that. Next is Shadowhawk by Image Comics. This is issue number 1. Image made a lot of hardcore stuff, you know, Spawn. This is Todd McFarlane's comic book label. And this is a great foil print cover with the embossed depth on the logo. Very cool stuff. This is a pretty obscure one. This is Stupid Comics by Image. Yeah, they at a certain point, man, comics were basically like penny stocks. So people were just, including myself, were just buying comics left and right. So anything I saw that looks like, oh, that could be interesting, I would pick it up, especially stuff that was published by Image because they were, you know, pretty renowned for having quality comics. Next, we have Prophet, another Image comic. This is issue number 1. I don't know that character, but again, I always love picking up issue number 1s. Oh, God, Battle Chasers. This is Joe Madria. This is when he bounced from Marvel. So he used to be my favorite artist of all time. He bounced from Marvel and went to Image Comics and created his own comic, which is Battle Chasers. There's his classic signature there. This is a collected edition, so this is the entire series up until this point, which is probably just a handful of comics. Next, we have Cliffhanger, and this is a Wizard. No, this is Image Cliffhanger number 0 and Wildstorm. So this is a Wizard exclusive sketchbook, which is kind of cool. Some initial character sketches and that kind of thing. Next, we have Brigade, first issue. Yeah, again, I know nothing about this. This is Image Comics. That dude sort of looks like Batman, and that's all I know. I don't know anything about this. Next, we have Ripclaw, which, of course, this is from Wildcats. It's like one of the characters, one of the more popular characters from Wildcats, got his own comic book series for a while. This is issue number 1. This is a Valiant comic, issue number 1. Again, very cool cover, prism cover, with very colorful, really cool stuff. No idea what the character is. I don't know anything about the story either. Okay, down to the last quarter here, we have Sandscape. I don't know anything about this one. Cool artwork. I probably picked it up just to check out new stuff. Flaming Carrot. Classic, man. This is just super obscure stuff right here. Dark Horse Comics. They made a lot of the cool comics that I love to read, like really super dark and edgy stuff. So there's the Flaming Carrot. Some of these I picked up at comic conventions and, you know, comic shows and stuff back in the day. This is Clerks by Oni Press, you know, from the film Clerks. Next we have Snowman. No idea. This is Avatar Comics. So this is super obscure, very limited. This is issue number 1. Here's issue number 2. We got some blood on the cover, so that's probably why I picked this up. Nice and violent. Next we have Prime. Now, you want to talk ripoffs. Does that look like somebody you know? This is Malibu Comics. And, yeah, the Sensational Spider Prime. Straight ripoff of Spider-Man right there. Next, we have America's Best Comics. And this is a bonus exclusive sneak peek by Wizard. So Wizard, if you don't know, is a catalog that graded comic books. And they would release a monthly publication grading the value of every comic by major publishers. And they would occasionally publish your own comics as well. This is Scud, the Disposable Assassin, issue number 1. And this used to be one of my favorite characters back in the day. I love the artwork. This is Fireman Press Limited. I love the storyline. This is from 1997. This is the 3rd printing you can see. So there was a lot of like underground love for Scud. So he's the disposable assassin. Like you could buy an assassin from a vending machine, and essentially they would assassinate somebody for you, and then they would self-destruct. Well, this dude, Scud, realizes that he's disposable, and he refuses to do his job because he doesn't want to die. And then he becomes independent and so on. And he's on the run. It's really cool stuff. Great artwork, great storytelling. Next, we have Storm Quest, another like superhero group. I feel like all these are like rip-offs of the X-Men or the Justice League. Next, we have Malibu Comics, Rune, issue number 1. So Malibu was a short-lived comic book publishing company. I don't believe that they're around anymore, but when they came out and they started publishing, you know, on a major level, I definitely got caught up in the hype and bought a bunch of those comics. Next, we have Spider-Woman, number 1, rematch with Death Web. Oh, sweet. We got a handheld X-Men gaming system on the back. Strong Guy Reborn. This is issue number 1 when he got his own series. Storm, issue number 1 when she got her own series. You got the sweet foil stamp cover. Check out the logo. Next, I know you're going to love this, Brett. Gambit in a first of 4 issue limited series. Sinister Redemption. So, of course, when your boy Gambit got his own series, I had to pick that up. Next, we got The Infinity War, issue number 1. So, yeah, that is classic, man. All this Infinity Wars is a storyline where they took all of the Marvel, all the characters in the Marvel universe and put them into a singular storyline, a huge universe crossover. And it was basically the storyline was put together in order to get revamped, updated, modernized versions of every one of their characters so that they could release a line of action figures. And they sold a lot of action figures, I gotta say, the Infinity War. Next, we have Conan the Barbarian, issue number 1. And this is from the early 90s. Of course, there was a lot of different volumes of Conan. And this is the one that started in the 90s. All right. Issue number 2. Pile of skulls there. Cool artwork. X-Men The Lost Tale, issue number 1 from 1997. Always been an X-Men mark. Team X 2000, which is hilarious. Yeah, some variation of the X-Men team. This is Generation X 1996. So they did their annual, every year they do like a one-shot comic that was an extra long, singular, standalone storyline. Then we got the Uncanny X-Men. special event issue 1996. So this is their annual comic for 96. Again, a singular standalone storyline. This is X-Men 96. This is Uncanny X-Men 96. Each had their own standalone stories. They weren't tied together at all. Then we got X-Men 97 annual edition. Marvel Knights. No idea. There you go. You got Daredevil, Doctor Strange, Black Panther, the Black Widow. I don't know about that storyline, though. X Factor flashback. You got Mr. Sinister on the cover. Very cool. Flashback Uncanny X-Men. This is -1. Flashback Uncanny X-Men. Also -1. Ooh, interesting. This is probably 96 version, 97 version. Then we got Wildcats Trilogy, issue number 1. We got, again, this is an Image Comics. This is Jim Lee's version of the X-Men, essentially. And this is a cool prism cover with a lot of reflective colors on there. This is issue number 2. You got the Jim Lee on top. You got the sweet prism or the foil print, the rainbow print foil. Got all the characters on the cover. Wildcats Adventure. This is based on the the Wildcats animated series on Fox. Wildcats issue number 4. And then the X-Men and Wildcats team up, which is kind of awesome if you think about it. This is bound to happen. Jim Lee did artwork for the X-Men, went off, did his own, created his own series of superheroes called Wildcats, and then eventually they teamed up and they made it the Silver Age. So this is classic version of the X-Men comics, and then classic reincarnations of the Wildcat characters. So yeah, so there you have it. We cracked another box, another short box of comics in my collection. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm happy to share my classic comics with everybody and talk a little bit about them. We got 2 more short boxes that we're going to go through this week. If you're watching live, today is Wednesday. We got 2 more boxes to go through, and then we're also going to play a video game live, a comic book themed Sega Genesis game. So head over to the community section of the YouTube page, cast your vote, let me know which Genesis game I should play. We only got 2 games posted, and there's been a couple votes, but I want to get some more. So head over there, help me decide which game do you want to see me play next. Again, we're playing it later this week at the end of the week, and it's comic book themed. So Wolverine versus Black Panther. That would be a good one. I don't have that one. How much did it cost to play a game at the arcade? Man, every game at the arcade was $1.25. If it was something that where you had to sit down, and have some kind of gun, that you would shoot, sometimes you would pay 50 cents, but almost always it was 25 cents. I was actually thinking about starting a series where I could go to arcades and live stream arcade gameplay. I don't know. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. If that's something you want to see, hit me up in the chat. Let me know. Thanks so much for tuning in to Nick White Classics. This has been an episode of Classic Comics, and we got more coming this week, 8 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you tune in, 5 p.m. Eastern for regular releases, and then 8 p.m. for my live streams. Shouts out to the Classic crew. Thanks for joining me once again. I hope y'all have a beautiful evening, and we will see you tomorrow. Have a good night. Later.